Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, the 16th day of February. Here we go. Let's say you have some baby cereal, and it's that thin, liquidy type of baby cereal, and you want to warm it up on Shabbos. Well, you're not allowed to pour directly from the urn onto that baby cereal, and that's because based on the texture of that baby cereal, if hot water directly from the urn goes onto that baby cereal, you could be guilty of bishul, of cooking it, and you're not allowed to do that. You know how sometimes we allow, and we've told you that you're allowed to take, let's say, a cold kugel and put it on top of a cholent pot, and that's like a very unusual way to warm something up, so that way it's considered permissible. You would not be allowed to use this trick to warm up your thin baby cereal because this is way too close to a cookable item, and therefore don't pour from the hot urn onto that thin baby cereal, and also don't put it on top of your cholent pot in order to warm it. What you could do is add some hot water from a kli sheni or a kli shlishi, and remember we've explained to you what that is. That is not the hot water directly from the urn, that first vessel, but the second vessel. In other words, you've poured from that urn into a cup, and certainly it gets even safer if you pour from that second cup, that kli sheni, into a third cup, which is a third one now, third removed from the fire. Then you could pour that into thin baby cereal, and that would be considered fine. If you have a glass with cold droplets that are all over the inside of it, you're going to have to dry it before pouring water directly from the hot urn into that glass, because the hot urn going into that glass is going to cook those cold droplets that are on the inside of the glass. But if those droplets are kind of warm and they were cooked and they're still warm, then having the hot water of the urn go onto them is not that much of a problem. And you know why? Because they're, first of all, they've been pre-cooked already, and also they are still warm, so not a whole lot of cooking action is happening. Therefore, it is permissible. This is where it would really matter to you. If you had your hot soup at the Shabbos meal and there's warm drops still in your bowl, and someone says, "Would you like a refill?" and they take it back to the pot and they're going to pour hot water from that first vessel, from the fire, right back onto the warm droplets inside of your soup, well, it's going to be considered okay because they're still warm, as the halacha that we just stated is telling us. So that's where warm drops on the inside of your soup are going to be important. You can refill that bowl of soup and not worry at all about the hot water that's coming directly from the urn onto that bowl of soup. It won't be considered a problem. If warm drops became cold, and we would tell you then try to dry them before hot water goes directly on them. But if it's difficult to dry them, then there are two reasons why it might be okay to be lenient. First of all, we're talking here about drops that were once cooked. So we're more lenient on things that were already once cooked. And secondly, that's a very small amount, and you have no intention to be cooking up those little, negligible droplets that are in there. So when you combine those two factors together, the drops were once cooked, and you barely have any intention, certainly not thinking much about warming the drops that are inside of that cup. So in that situation, if it's difficult for you to dry it, then we would be lenient and say, okay, so hot water could go into that cup because the drops in there were once cooked, and also you don't have much intention to be cooking anything of those negligible amount of drops. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.